D, we got a special guest on Hustle and Shine in the morning, and what's going on in the South right now has everybody worried. It has everybody triggered, and we have to talk about it. We have Mr. Cory Booker on the show, Up Hustling and Shining. It's an honor to have you on with us, and I'm gonna get right to it. If states can redraw maps in ways that dilute Black communities' voices, what tools do Congress still have to ensure that Black voters, no matter where their zip code is located, have any real say in their democracy? What's going on in the South?
So as long as Democrats are in the minority, we can't do anything about it. That's why these midterm elections, no matter what map you're under, demand us to have the same kind of voter turnouts we had in the post-Reconstruction, in the Reconstruction period. Remember, these maps are sending us back to a time of terror and dirty tricks in the South that eliminated that Black representation. Right now, we, all Americans, not just Black Americans, have to reject this kind of voter suppression, voter dilution, voter elimination. And so what Congress can do if we're in the majority is pass laws to eliminate partisan gerrymandering and make sure that every state has fair maps. That's the end and the cure that we want, is Congress to pass a law and put it on a president's desk that will sign that law. But if we allow this moment to overwhelm us, to make us turn into cynicism and surrender the fight, then they're going to be able to do this and get away with it and send us back to a dark period of our past where Black representation, where Black participation in the democracy is diluted and undermined.
Senator Booker, from your record-breaking 25-hour Senate floor speech to you being the first Black U.S. Senator from New Jersey, it's truly an honor to have you on not only Hustle and Shine in the morning, but also Hot 103 Jamz, which is the oldest continually ran Black station in the country. Now, at a time where local media is shrinking, how can Black media sources show up for the community in the right way?
Well, I've wanted to come on with you all because of that fact. You are the oldest continuous running Black radio in the country. And Black radio has been a pivotal part of every modern movement. I'm sitting here in DC, what was called Chocolate City, where my parents met after graduating from their HBCUs. And it was Black radio that sourced a movement that sustained and elevated and informed, as well as entertained people in very difficult times in the 60s. And so we have to preserve with loyalty and deep fealty are Black institutions that give us the news straight, that are not filtered through large corporations who often do not have our best interests at heart. The Black community, we know we have wealth and success. And we now see, from going from a period where Madam C.J. Walker and these early Black millionaires were so loyal to our communities, now we often have a situation where big corporations want our money, but they are not loyal to our communities. And that's why institutions like yours are vital. They're vital for getting the information out. They're vital for stating facts. They're vital for holding politicians and leaders accountable. And they're vital because of their roots and loyalty to our communities.
New Jersey Senator Cory Booker is up hustling and shining right here on Hot 103 Jamz. And, you know, I've always had the fight with several friends, colleagues, people in my community about voting. And then many Black voters still feel like every time progress is made, another ruling takes it away. And what we've seen in the past couple of years has given credence to that and how they feel. What do you say to people who are just exhausted and tired of this process? And how can Congress help restore their faith that their vote still matters?
Well, I hope I can become a regular on your show so we can have these tough conversations.
Absolutely, yes. Please.
And I want you all to know I want to orient you all to who I am. I was the mayor of a majority Black city, Newark, New Jersey. I am the only United States Senator. First of all, you said I'm the first Black person from New Jersey. I'm only the fourth Black person ever popularly elected to the Senate after Barack Obama, who was the third. And so I still live in a majority Black community that is a low income working class community. We don't mistake wealth with worth. And I remember there's a map of my district on my wall in the United States Senate, not to forget the first people to ever put their faith in me in elected office. And so I want to tell you right now, I have these same conversations, not just when I travel around the country to other urban places, but even when I walk my own neighborhood, people say, why am I voting when we still see this nonsense? What, my vote doesn't make a difference. And I have to engage with people to let them know the receipts that when we vote, we do win things for our community. When we voted, put Biden in there, it may not reach the headlines, but on Black maternal mortality, remember, we have the worst nation of developed nations for women dying in childbirth, and that's overall, but for Black women, it's like 3 times worse. We were able to make significant strides in extending healthcare for women in their birthing period and their postpartum period. I tell people about the lead pipes in the ground. Under Biden, we won the biggest funding for the removal of lead pipes that was plaguing our neighborhoods. I could go through a whole bunch of receipts, including expanding the child tax credit and cutting child poverty in America almost in half. For the Black community, child poverty more than in half. So when we win, we make gains and make strides. I'm going to be the first person to tell you the Democratic Party has failed the moment we're in. It has not. I want new leadership. I want new ideas. But we don't get those things unless we vote. We don't get gains unless we vote. Because as soon as we don't vote, as soon as they win elections, they take away things like our voting rights. They take away things like our expansion of the child tax credit and prevent us from having success. So right now, we are feeling pain. We're losing health care. Our costs of living are going up. Gas prices are going up. We are feeling pain. The way to deal with that is not simply to complain. The way to deal with that is to take that agonizing into organizing and mobilizing. That is our history. And we need to have a movement election going into these midterms to take back control of our government.
Now, we know how important the midterms are, Senator Booker, and you touched on how this current moment, it feels as if the Democrats have failed. So straight to the point, if Democrats want to win in 2028, what has to change in how the party recruits, funds, and supports strong candidates? And could we see you at the forefront of that?
Yeah, I'm gonna be a voice. I'm up for re-election in New Jersey now, but I'm promising you, and this, I hope we come back and have this tough conversation, that the Democratic Party needs a revolution. And I'm not talking about ideological spectrum. I'm just talking about the great civil rights generation, the baby boomers, people who I have the chance to sit with. You have a great congressman and Congressman Cleaver, John Lewis, these folks who bled, struggled, and some of them died for us. That generation is passing the torch now. And the question is are we going to step up and grab that torch? Millennials, Gen X, Gen Z. I want that next generation to define ourselves with the same kind of strides forward as the generations before us. This is our moment. And the revolution I want cannot be the same ideas we had before Donald Trump, that we're not serving our communities enough. And so, yes, I'm going to lead, and I'm putting out big ideas right now. I just rolled out this idea that I think should be the center of the Democratic Party, which would be raising the standard deduction for a family to $75,000, which means most people in your community would not pay federal income taxes. We'd still pay federal taxes every time we buy gas or buy a beer, but it's about time that we pay for something like this by getting rid of the rigged tax system at the top that allowed the wealthiest corporations and individuals to pay less in taxes and a tax rate than we do. We need to, number two, after changing the economic bargain in our taxes, to attack corruption. We have a level of corruption in our politics that is staggering, from senators and congresspeople being able to trade stocks, to be able to take PAC and corporate money. I don't take that money. Why are we letting these corporations buy elections? Why are we letting the Supreme Court get showered with gifts? Clarence Thomas got an RV from a billionaire donor, lavish trips. Why are we letting the president of the United States have crypto schemes? We have a corrupt government. The Democratic Party has to lead by changing the economic bargain for working people and cleaning up a corrupt government that makes government serve the wealthy and the wealthiest, and not people every day struggling to make a living. Those are the kind of things we need to start to define ourselves about.
You yourself being a former mayor of a major city, you know, we have our 50-50 elected mayor, Mayor Quentin Lucas, black mayor here in a town who doesn't have control over his police department. The state has control over it. And so he's had a uphill battle with several things affecting people here in Kansas City, Missouri. But this ruling affects far more than one state that the Supreme Court struck down in the South. What responsibility does Congress have to protect fair representation for black communities across the country? And what advice do you have for Mayor Lucas and his constituents if the court keeps narrowing these tools that are available for us?
So I think you used the right word. I'm tired of people only talking about who's to blame. I want more people to start accepting responsibility for this moment. And when you ask me what my responsibility, I just was going back and forth with my team. We need to lead in this moment. And you don't need a title. Leadership is not a title or a position. It is action and example. And I don't want people now just talking about the problem. Show me that you're going to fight and have ideas to solve it. And so I'm up for re-election, but I am also not only crisscrossing New Jersey, I'm crisscrossing the country. I just got out of Alabama last week, going down there, letting people know we are all in this together. And I want to be a part with you of leading the change that we need. And as far as advice look, being a mayor of a city is the hardest job in America, with exception maybe the president of the United States. It is tough. Everything stops with you. When I was mayor of the city of Newark, crime, housing, the economy, and jobs, all of that was on my shoulders. And we showed that in Newark, people counted us out, disrespected, disregarded, or just plain dissed the city of Newark. And we were able to revolutionize our city. The first time in 60 years, our population started growing again. Schools reaching heights of achievement, the biggest economic development period, a housing boom during a housing bubble burst. We accomplished that ultimately by bringing people together in our city across the rivalries and the rifts. A people united can never be defeated. It was Newark against the world. And we found ways to step up and do things other people said we could not do. So I don't know what the politics are in your city, but I am telling you right now, we need to be coming together because the threats facing our communities from outside are greater than any beefs we might have inside. We can do incredible things. As they say in the old African saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, as a church, as a city, as a nation, you go together.
Those are perfect words, Senator Booker. Thank you so much for that. I know Mayor Quinn Lucas will look forward to hearing that piece. If you could speak directly to young voters who feel disconnected from politics, because we know the youth is the future, what could you say to them?
I would say this is your country. And young people have been directing this nation's destiny every generation. The civil rights movement, John Lewis was in his early 20s. Martin Luther King was a young man in his 30s. Ella Baker, Dorothea Cotton, James Bevel, all of these people were young leaders in the movement that shaped this country's destiny, that never allowed their inability to do everything to undermine their determination to do something in the cause of your country. When you surrender your power, that is an action. When you don't vote, it is giving power to those forces that you do not agree with. Don't complain about it. Be about it. Don't let this nation be formed by other people. Yes, be angry, be upset, get mad. But at the end of the day, you have to get out working. You have to get out organizing and mobilizing. This nation needs you. It needs young voices, not to disengage, not to surrender to cynicism, but to lead in times of trouble.
Wow, this has been a treat. Senator Cory Booker, thank you so much for your time. We know you have a very, very, very busy schedule, but important things deserve important time. So we appreciate you coming on Hustle and Shine in the morning. And please don't let this be the last time we talk to you. We want to have those conversations with you.
If you all let me come back, let's make it on the regular. I don't care if it's monthly. Let's keep talking, because I think there's too much at stake over these next 6 months about what's going on in these elections. It will dramatically impact the kind of lives we have, the kind of healthcare we can access, the kind of jobs we get, the kind of taxes we pay, all of that stuff. And as billionaires and millionaires try to affect the system, we've got to show that organized people can beat organized money.
Yes,
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you. Have a good one and continue to be a blessing.
Yes, blessings to you both.
Thank you.
Thank you for shining and hustling this morning.
Oh, that's a drop. Thank you.
Love that.